algebra, and welcome to your first video on quadratic equations. We're going to keep this one simple, and I'm going to start off by just showing you a quadratic equation in standard form. So in standard form, this is a quadratic equation. There's a spam comment, I think, on my YouTube videos. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So here, x is our variable. And we have coefficients a, b, and c. X could be any variable, and a, b, and c can be any real numbers. And they can be any real numbers. So as long as it's not an I, we're in business. What makes this a quadratic equation is this degree 2 here. So you'll notice this is just a polynomial, right? I have some coefficients and some variables. I'm adding them together. And this is an equation because I have an equals sign. But what makes it quadratic is that I have that degree 2. And what makes it in standard form is that my degrees are in descending order. So here is degree 2, 1, and then this would be our constant term with no variable. So let me give you some examples of a quadratic equation in standard form. X squared plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. That's an equation in standard form. And you might want to identify the a, b, and c here. So in this case, a would be 1, b would be 2, and c would be 1. And I'm getting that here by looking at the coefficients. So we didn't write a coefficient here, which is what means it's 1. Here's our b, which is 2. And our c, the constant term, which is 1. Now it's in standard form. Let's do a little exercise here. So I want you to write these in standard form. So these are not in standard form. So let's say x squared equals 2x plus 1, and that'll be our first. And our second will be 19x equals x squared minus 1. And our third will be 14x squared equals 0. So take a second and write these three in standard form, and then I'll go through the answers with you. All right, so here's our first one. X squared equals 2x plus 1. Now, standard form says that we should have ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So we want to have a 0 on one side of the equal sign and then everything else over here. So I'm going to move my 2x to each from that side by subtracting it. And I get x squared minus 2x equals 1. But I don't want to have 1 here, I want to have 0. So I'm going to subtract 1 from each side. And then I have x squared minus 2x minus 1 equals 0. And that's in standard form. Yay! Let's do our second one. 19x equals x squared minus 1. Now this one I'm going to be sneaky. Let's subtract 19x from each side. You could have done it a different way, and that's okay. I get 0 equals x squared minus 19x minus 1. And then I'm going to rewrite that. X squared minus 19x minus 1 equals 0. Equality is transitive, which just means I can swap sides like that. And that would be my final answer there. And the third one, it's actually a trick question. So I said 14x squared equals 0. This is already in standard form. But here's the issue. B is equal to 0 and C is equal to 0. Look, if I have 14x squared plus 0 times x plus 0 equal to 0, that's the same thing as what I've written up here. So this is actually already in standard form. It's just B and C are equal to 0. And that's it. It's important to have quadratic equations in standard form when you're solving them. And we're going to get a lot of practice. I want you guys to get in the habit of writing your equations in standard form. So write your quadratics in standard form. When you're solving. That's my little baby. She's